Hi Reddit. My name is Mark Thompson. I'm 38 years old. I'm an architect, owner of a small but successful firm. I live in Austin, Texas, in a neighborhood where it smells like jasmine in the mornings, and in the evenings, neighbors say hello to each other even if they're just driving by. I have a wife. Her name is Olivia. Olivia is 36. She's a lawyer, works at a big firm downtown, specializes in intellectual property. She's smart, beautiful, and until recently, she was the only woman I'd loved in my entire adult life. We met when we were 23. At a party at mutual friend's house in Dallas. She was standing by the window with a glass of champagne, arguing with some guy about politics, and her nose would scrunch up in this funny way when she got angry. I fell in love instantly. She used to laugh later and say I fell in love with her nose, not her. Maybe, but the nose was just a detail. 2 years later, we got married. The wedding was modest but warm. My best friend was there. His name is Ryan Coleman. We'd been friends since freshman year of college. Shared a dorm room, shared our last dollars for pizza, shared girls, we introduced each other, not that way. He was my best man at my wedding. And 3 years after us, he married a wonderful woman named Kate. And we became family friends. Olivia and I have 2 children. Emma, our oldest, is 12. She's my clone. The same way of biting her lip when she's thinking, the same dimples. She swims competitively and hates math, just like I did at her age. Julia, our youngest, is 9. She's all her mother, artistic, emotional, dances and sings, constantly steals my ties to dress up her dolls. Ryan and Kate have 2 sons, around the same ages. We lived 5 minutes apart. Our kids grew up together, like siblings. We celebrated every holiday together, grilled together on weekends, went to family camps together on Thanksgiving. Ryan worked in IT, made good money, loved showing off his new gadgets, but deep down he was still the same simple guy the first used to drink cheap beer with in the dorm. I trusted him like I trusted myself. If someone told me Ryan had shot someone, I wouldn't have believed it. If they told me he'd slept with my wife, I would have laughed in their face. And now I'm sitting in my office, clutching a tiny silver hairpin in my fist, and I realize, I never knew him. I never knew her, not at all. It all started on Tuesday, March 14th. I was supposed to pick Julia up from cheerleading practice at 5. But at 4, Julia called me. She was only allowed to use her phone in emergencies, and said she'd forgotten her backpack. Not just any backpack, but the special one with sequins and rhinestones that she carries everywhere because without it, according to her, practice isn't fun. Dad, bring it, please. She whined into the phone. Mom's not answering, and I can't do it without my backpack. I was just finishing a drawing for a new project, but the work wasn't going well anyway. My head was heavy after a sleepless night. Olivia and I had stayed up late the night before, watching some series and drinking wine. I closed my laptop, grabbed my keys, and headed home. The house greeted me with silence. Olivia was at work. Emma was at swimming. I went upstairs to Julia's room, found that stupid backpack in her closet, and was about to leave when my eyes fell on our bedroom door. It was open. I wasn't going to go in, but something pulled me, some sixth sense that people write about in books but I never believed in. I stopped at the threshold. Everything was normal. The made bed, the nightstands, the window, the closet. An ordinary bedroom of an ordinary married couple. I stepped inside. I don't know why, just to look around? Check if Olivia had left something important? We had complete trust. We never went through each other's pockets. Each of us had our own phones, our own passwords, our own private spaces, and nobody cared. Because there was nothing to hide. I walked to her nightstand. Just ran my finger along the book's spines. There were her novels, her planner, a few old magazines. I opened the top drawer. Makeup, brushes, hair clips. All hers. I closed the drawer. And then I noticed it. Under the nightstand. Against the wall. In that spot where the mop never reaches, where dust collects in thick layers, something glinted. A tiny point of light, reflecting the sunbeam from the window. I bent down. It was a woman's hairpin. Small, delicate, silver. On the end, a tiny diamond, or more likely a very good cubic zirconia. An expensive little thing. The kind sold in jewelry boutiques in sets for $200 for 3. I had never seen this hairpin on Olivia. I sat on the edge of the bed, still clutching it in my fingers. My wife wears her hair down. At most, she pulls it into a lazy bun, a thick twist pinned with one of the huge plastic claws that litter her makeup bag by the dozens. She hates all that girly stuff, as she calls it. Barrettes, pins, headbands, not for her. For her, they're torture devices. So where did this thing come from? In our bedroom? Under the nightstand? Against the wall? Where it could only have fallen if someone was standing by the bed. On Olivia's side, and dropped it from their hair. I clenched the pin in my fist so hard the metal bit into my palm. "Calm down, Mark," I said out loud. My voice sounded hoarse, like a stranger's. Could be anything. A friend came over. Could have dropped it, but my mind had already switched into paranoia mode, which had apparently been dormant all these years. What friend? Which of her friends wears pins like this? Megan? Megan has a pixie cut. Stacy? Stacy has dreadlocks. Amy? Amy comes over often, but we never go up to the bedroom when she visits. We sit in the kitchen, on the porch, in the living room. Why would she go into the bedroom? I opened her nightstand again. This time, I was methodical. I pulled out her planner. A leather-bound daily planner that Olivia carries everywhere. I opened it to recent pages. The last 2 weeks. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, work. Tuesday, March 7th. Yoga, 7 p.m. Thursday, March 9th. Yoga, 7 p.m. Tuesday, March 14th. Today, yoga, 7 p.m. I frowned. Olivia hates yoga. She went a few times 3 years ago, then quit because she didn't have the patience to breathe and do nothing. She prefers Pilates or running. I pulled out my phone. Opened our messages. For the last 2 weeks. March 7th, 6:45 p.m. Olivia. Going to be late at Amy's today. She's having problems with her husband, needs to talk. Don't wait for me for dinner, I'll grab something at her place. Kisses. March 9th, 6:50 p.m. Olivia. Amy again. She's a mess, I'm afraid to leave her alone. I'll be late. Love you. March 14th, today, 10:15 a.m. Olivia. Amy called again. Looks like I'll be with her tonight too. Make dinner without me. I stared at the screen, and the numbers blurred before my eyes. Amy. Yoga. 2 different explanations for the same time. I stood up. My legs felt like rubber. I went downstairs, through the kitchen to the garage. 2 cars were there. My old but reliable Ford pickup and her white Tesla, which I'd given her for her 35th birthday. The Tesla was locked. I went back inside, found her purse in the entryway. Took the keys, went back to the garage. Opened the car. The smell hit me as soon as I opened the door. A mix of her Joe Malone perfume and something else. Sandalwood, cedar, men's cologne. I knew that scent. I'd bought it. Last December, Kate, Ryan's wife, and I went shopping for Christmas presents for our husbands. I bought myself a new watch, and she bought Ryan a set of expensive colognes. That one was in it. Sandalwood and cedar. I remember her asking me to smell the tester and tell her if it was too strong. I said it was fine, as long as he didn't use half a bottle. Ryan's scent. In her car. I opened the glove compartment. Documents, glasses, wipes, phone charger. And wet wipes. A pack, almost full. Not the ones we buy at Costco. A small package, a brand sold in luxury pharmacies. Expensive, soaked with some moisturizing formula. We'd never bought those. Under the wipes was a small empty packet. Made of thick paper, embossed. The logo of a boutique downtown where we'd been a month ago. Olivia went in while I waited at the coffee shop. Then she came out with a bag and said, bought a dress and some little things. She wore the dress to her corporate event later. And the little things? I shook the packet onto my palm. A tiny plastic tag fell out. You know, the kind they put on expensive lingerie, with fabric composition and care instructions. I held it up to the light. Silk, 100%. Hand wash only. Silk lingerie. She bought silk lingerie. For me? No. She never wore it for me. We'd had sex in the past month, but normal, nothing special. She never appeared before me in new lingerie. I closed the glove compartment. Got out of the car. Locked it. Put the keys back in Olivia's purse. And I went to deliver Julia's damn backpack. The whole drive to the sports complex, I was on autopilot. Handed over the backpack, kissed my daughter on the head, got back in my car and just sat there, staring at a spot on the dashboard. My mind was ringing emptiness. And then the emptiness filled with images. Olivia and Ryan. Ryan and Olivia. I remembered how, in recent months, they were always next to each other. At parties, they'd talk in the corner forever. Olivia laughing at his jokes. Ryan looking at her with some new expression I hadn't noticed before. I thought, well, friends talk. I talked to Kate too. I remembered how Ryan suddenly started coming over more often, on business. To borrow a tool, to get advice on his computer. Olivia always opened the door for him when I was in the shower or my office. I remembered how she started coming home late from work. How she bought a new workout outfit for her runs, even though she used to run in old sweats. How she started smiling at her phone more. I didn't want to believe it. I pushed the thoughts away. This was Ryan, my best friend. This was Olivia, mother of my children, the woman I'd spent 15 years with. But the hairpin burned in my pocket. I took it out and looked at it again. A pretty thing. Definitely not mass market. I photographed it with my phone. Then, for some reason, I opened Olivia's Instagram. Scrolled through her photos from recent months. The hairpin wasn't in any of them. Not a single shot. I opened Amy's Instagram. Amy, her friend, the one she was supposedly spending evenings with. In her latest photos, Amy was with her husband. They looked happy. No problems. It all added up. It all fucking added up. I started the engine and drove home. I needed to make dinner. The girls would be home soon. Olivia would be home soon, from Amy's. I decided I wouldn't say anything yet. I needed time. I needed proof. Not just a hairpin and a smell in the car. I needed to see it with my own eyes. And I knew where I'd see it. March 14th evening. I fed the girls dinner. Spaghetti with meatballs, their favorite. We sat in the kitchen, Emma telling me about some drama at school, Julia chiming in and waving her fork. I smiled, nodded, poured juice, and watched the clock. Olivia came back at 9:30. I heard the garage door open, heard her come through the kitchen. The girls were upstairs doing homework. Hi, she said, kissing my cheek. She smelled of her perfume, the freshness of the evening air, and nothing else. Had she showered before coming home? Or just aired out the car? Hi, I answered, stirring my tea. How's Amy? Oh, it's bad. Olivia sighed and sat at the table. They fought again. Jeff didn't come home again. She's hysterical. I barely calmed her down. Poor Amy, I said, looking her straight in the eyes. Yeah, she looked away. Too quickly. I'm tired. Going to shower. She went upstairs. I heard the water running. I sat at the table, staring into the darkness outside the window. The calm I'd maintained all evening evaporated. In its place came icy rage. She lied to my face. Calmly, professionally, looking me right in the soul. Played tired, played concerned friend. And went to wash off the scent of another man. I waited until she fell asleep. She usually fell asleep fast, especially after a hard evening. I waited another hour, got up, took her purse, pulled out her phone. I knew the password, the kids' birthdays. She never changed it. I opened her messages. There was a conversation with Amy, but not from today. The last message from Amy was 3 days old, about weekend plans. I opened WhatsApp. Same thing. Viber. Same thing. Then I went into settings. Looked at which apps had been updated recently. The list was long, but one name caught my attention, Telegram. I knew Olivia didn't use Telegram. Never. I opened Telegram. It was empty. No chats. But in the contacts list, under recent, there was one number. No name, just a number. I copied it into my phone. Then I went into her Google account, into location history. We both never turned that function off. It was convenient for finding a lost phone. I opened the history for March 7th. At 6:30 p.m., her phone was home. At 7:15 p.m., it was in Amy's neighborhood. At 7:45 p.m., it moved to the hotel district on the edge of town. Where Highway 35 is, where there are lots of motels for travelers. Specifically, the parking lot of the La Quinta Inn. At 10:30 p.m., her phone was back in Amy's neighborhood. At 11:15 p.m., home. March 9th, same pattern. 7 p.m., Amy's neighborhood. 7:30 p.m., La Quinta. 10 p.m., Amy's neighborhood. 11 p.m., home. Today, March 14th, 6:45 p.m., Amy's neighborhood. 7:15 p.m., La Quinta. And at that moment, at 11:30 p.m., her phone was home, but the history showed she'd left the hotel at 9:45 p.m. 3 hours in a hotel. 3 fucking hours with my best friend, while I sat at home making dinner for their daughters. I put the phone back. Went back to bed. Lay down next to her. She was sleeping, quietly snoring. So beautiful, so peaceful. My wife, mother of my children. I didn't sleep all night. Lay there staring at the ceiling. By morning, I'd made a decision. I wouldn't cause a scene. I wouldn't break dishes. I'd act like an architect. Plan everything meticulously, gather all the evidence, consult a lawyer, and only then strike. Both of them. March 15th. In the morning, I took the kids to school. Olivia left for work. I called my office and said I'd be working from home today. Instead, I drove to La Quinta. The hotel was an ordinary 3-star dive. Clean, but no frills. Perfect for secret meetings. Not too expensive, not too cheap, lots of people, nobody pays attention. I went to the front desk. A girl of about 20 was behind the counter, painting her nails. "Hello," I said, trying to sound as calm as possible. "I have an unusual request. My wife left something here last week. I wanted to check if you found anything. She stayed here on the 7th, the 9th, and yesterday." The girl looked at me suspiciously. "I can't give out guest information." "I understand," I smiled my most charming smile. "But I'm her husband. We have the same last name. Thompson. Olivia Thompson. Could you check if she left anything in the system?" I hoped she wouldn't ask for ID. And I got lucky. She was lazy or just wanted me to go away. She poked at her computer. "Thompson? No, that name isn't in the guest registry for those dates." "Strange," I said, feigning confusion. "Maybe she registered under a different name?" "What name?" "No idea." "Never mind, sorry." I left. So Ryan was booking the room under his name. Or they were paying cash and not registering. Either way, it complicated things but didn't make them impossible. I got in my car and waited. I knew Ryan had today off. He often ran errands during the day. I didn't know if he'd come here, but I decided to check. At 11:30 a.m., I saw his pickup. Ryan's dark blue Ford pulled into the hotel parking lot. He parked in the far corner, got out, looked around, and disappeared around the building where the ground floor entrances were. I got out of my car. Walked to where he'd parked. I knew his license plate by heart. I took several photos of his car with the hotel sign in the background. Then I moved back and waited. An hour later, Olivia came around the corner. She was in a tracksuit, a cap, dark glasses. She looked like she'd just been for a run. She got in her Tesla, I hadn't even noticed her arrive, and drove off. I filmed it, short but clear, her coming out from behind the motel. Getting in her car. The plate isn't visible, but the color and model are unmistakable. 10 minutes later, Ryan came out. He also looked around, got in his pickup, and left. I sat in my car, staring at the empty parking lot. In my hand was my phone with the video. It was enough, more than enough, but I needed more. I needed to see their faces. March 16th, Thursday. I hadn't slept for the second night. Olivia noticed I was on edge but chalked it up to a work crunch. I played the tired, busy husband, kissed her good night, wished her sweet dreams, and lay there, planning the next phase. I needed to talk to Ryan, but not alone. I needed Kate. Kate is Ryan's wife. We'd always gotten along well. She was quiet, calm, completely devoted to the kids and home. Ryan sometimes teased her about being a hen, but he loved her, I was sure. Or I was sure until recently. I called her during the day. "Kate, hi, it's Mark." "Oh, Mark, hi." Her voice sounded cheerful. "How are you?" "Listen, strange question. Have you noticed anything unusual in Ryan's behavior lately?" A pause. Too long a pause. "What do you mean?" she asked, and her voice changed. "I don't know," I said as casually as possible. "Is he staying out later? Going out on business more?" "Mark, what do you know?" she asked sharply. "Tell me." And then I understood. She knew, or suspected, just like me. "Kate," I said, "we need to meet." Without them, we met at a park an hour later. Sat on a bench, drank coffee from a vending machine. Kate looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. "I found his cologne in her car," she said without preamble. "And wipes. Not ours. A week ago. I wanted to talk to him, but I was scared." "I found a hairpin in her bedroom," I answered. "One she never had. And she's lying about Amy." I followed her. They're meeting at the La Quinta on the edge of town. Ryan gets the room. Kate covered her face with her hands. Her shoulders shook. She cried silently, so no one would hear. "I thought I was just paranoid," she whispered. "Thought I was working myself up. We were happy. We have kids. How could he?" "I don't know," I said. "But it doesn't matter why now. What matters is what we do." Kate looked up at me, eyes red and swollen. What do you suggest? We catch them. Together. Next time they go to that hotel, we'll be there. And we'll look them in the eyes. She nodded. In her gaze, the same icy determination flared as in mine. When? Soon. She said she has yoga and Amy again on Tuesday. I'll check her phone. If the pattern holds, we go on Tuesday. We agreed to stay in touch. I drove home. March 21st, Tuesday. The whole week I lived in a fog. Played the loving husband, worked, handled the kids. And waited for Tuesday. And now it was here. In the morning, Olivia was getting ready for work as usual. I drank coffee, watching her from the corner of my eye. She was in a good mood. Humming something. Chose prettier underwear, I noticed. Wore a new dress. Meeting Amy tonight? I asked casually. Yes, she smiled. Poor thing's completely falling apart. I'll have to stay with her a while. Of course, I smiled back. Support her. You're a good friend. She kissed my cheek and left. As soon as the door closed, I called Kate. Today, I'm ready, she answered. During the day, I checked Olivia's location history. At 6:30 p.m., she was near work. At 7 p.m., near Amy's. At 7:30 p.m., La Quinta. I called Kate. Leaving in an hour. Meet at the supermarket parking lot near the hotel. I told the kids I had an emergency work thing and the babysitter, whom I'd called, would stay with them for a few hours. They didn't mind, buried in their tablets. At 8:30 p.m., I was there. Kate arrived 5 minutes later. We moved to my car so we wouldn't have two vehicles. Ready? I asked. No, she said honestly. But there's no other choice. We drove to the hotel. I knew where Ryan parked. We stopped at a distance where we could see his pickup. It was there. They're there, I said. What do we do? Kate asked. Wait. We waited 2 hours. 2 endless hours. We barely spoke, each lost in our own thoughts. I thought about Emma and Julia. About how I'd tell them their mom wouldn't be living with us anymore. About how I'd explain that their dad and their best friend's dad had betrayed us. At 9:45 p.m., I saw Olivia come around the corner. Same cap, same glasses. Walking quickly to her car. Now, I said. We got out and walked toward her. Kate was slightly behind. I crossed the parking lot and stood directly in front of Olivia as she was opening her Tesla door. Hi, I said. She looked up. Her face went so white it was visible even in the parking lot's dim light. Cap, glasses, all useless now. I looked her straight in the eyes. Mark? Her voice cracked. What are you doing here? Waiting for my wife to finish her yoga, I answered. What are you doing here? Isn't Amy on the other side of town? She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. At that moment, Ryan came around the corner. He was walking to his car, whistling. He saw us and froze mid-step. Ryan, buddy, I said, turning to him. Good to see you. Long time no see. How's Kate? Kate came up behind me. Stood beside me. Ryan looked at the two of us, and his face turned the same ashen shade as Olivia's. Mark. Kate, he began. Don't, I cut him off. Don't explain. We saw everything. We know everything. Silence. Just the sound of traffic from the highway. We didn't. Olivia started. Shut up, I said. Sharp, hard. She flinched. I'd never spoken to her like that. You lied to my face for 2 weeks. You fucked my best friend in this cheap dive while I sat with your children. You have no right to speak. I turned to Ryan. And you were my friend for 20 years. You held my kids when they were born. You swore loyalty to Kate. And for what? For a few orgasms? Do you have any idea what you've destroyed? Ryan said nothing, staring at the ground. Kate stepped forward. She walked up to Ryan and, without a word, slapped him across the face. Hard. He didn't even try to dodge. That's for 15 years, she said. You can talk to my lawyer. She turned and walked back to the car. I looked at Olivia. She was crying, mascara running down her cheeks. Mark, I'm sorry, she whispered. It was a mistake. I don't know how it happened. I love only you. He just took advantage. Olivia, I shook my head. Don't. I saw your messages. Well, I didn't see them because you were smart enough to hide them in Telegram. But I saw your schedule. I found your hairpin in our bedroom, under the nightstand. Did you drop it while you were entertaining him in our bed? Or did it just roll there while he was fucking you? She sobbed out loud. When did you become like this? I asked. When did you decide it was okay to lie, to betray, to destroy everything we built for 15 years? For what? For thrills? I don't know, she hiccuped. I'm an idiot. I'll fix everything. No, I said. You won't. From this moment we have no marriage. Only legal formalities. You'll see the kids according to the court's decision. My lawyer will contact yours. And don't even think about threatening or blackmailing me. I have video of you coming out of this hotel. I have your location history. I have everything I need to leave you with nothing. Understand? She nodded, unable to speak. I turned and walked to the car. Kate was already inside. I got behind the wheel. You okay? I asked. I want to go home, she said. To the kids. I'll take you. We drove away, leaving them standing in the parking lot. Two traders who had just lost everything. March 22nd. I spent the night in my office. I'd gotten home around midnight. Olivia was already there. She was sitting in the kitchen, swollen from crying. Can we talk? She asked. No, I answered. Not now. And not here. I'm sleeping in the office. I left and closed the door. She didn't dare knock. In the morning, I got up early. Needed to get the kids ready for school. Made breakfast, woke them, drove them. Olivia didn't come out of the bedroom. The girls asked where Mom was. I said she wasn't feeling well. They didn't think much of it. When I got back, Olivia was sitting in the kitchen. She looked terrible. Mark, please, she began. Give me a chance to explain. Explain? I laughed bitterly. Fine, explain. I'm listening. She started talking. Said it began 3 months ago. That Ryan approached her at some party when I'd gone to get drinks. That he paid her compliments, which I hadn't done in a while. That she felt lonely even though I was there. That I worked too much, didn't notice her. That Ryan was attentive, listened to her, understood her. Every word was a knife in my back. So it's my fault? I asked. I worked too hard so you could have this car, this house, so our kids could go to the best schools? It's my fault you decided to spread your legs for my friend? No, that's not what I meant. She cried. I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to explain. There's nothing to explain, Olivia. You could have come to me and said, Mark, I need more attention. You could have suggested counseling. You could have asked for a divorce if I wasn't enough for you anymore. But you chose lies. You chose betrayal. Did you sleep with him in our bed while I was at work? Or did you bring him to our house when the kids were at school? She was silent, staring at the table. Did you? I pressed. Was he in our house? Once, she whispered. When you were on a business trip in Dallas. I closed my eyes. Our home, our bedroom, my pillow. All of it defiled now. Pack your things, I said. You're leaving today. Where? She asked, frightened. To your mom's. To a friend's. To a hotel. I don't care. But you're not staying here. I can't look at you. And I don't want the kids seeing you like this. They're going to hurt enough as it is. She tried to argue, but I was firm. An hour later, I helped her load her suitcase into the car. She cried, begged, threatened suicide if I threw her out. I didn't react. See you in court, I said, closing the trunk. She drove away. I went back inside. The silence was deafening. I walked to the bedroom. Threw the windows open wide. Started stripping the bed. Then stopped. What was the point? I wasn't going to sleep here anymore. I wasn't going to live in this house, where every corner reminded me of her. But first, I had to deal with the kids. March 22nd, evening. The girls sat on the couch in the living room. I put a plate of cookies in front of them and poured juice. They could sense something was wrong. Emma looked at me with worry. Julia fidgeted with the edge of her shirt. I need to tell you something, I began. It's very hard, and I'm so sorry you have to hear it. Where's Mom? Julia asked. Mom won't be living with us for a while. Your mother and I are separating. Emma gasped. Julia froze. Are you getting divorced? Emma asked. Yes, I didn't lie. We're getting divorced. Why? Julia's voice trembled. But you love each other. I sighed. How do you explain infidelity to a 9-year-old? How do you tell her that her mom betrayed her dad with Uncle Ryan? Sometimes people stop understanding each other, I said. Sometimes they make mistakes that can't be forgiven. Mom did a very bad thing. She hurt me very badly. And I can't live with her anymore. Is it because of us? Emma asked quietly. Did we behave badly? I went and hugged them both. No, my darlings. It's not because of you. This is only between me and Mom. You have nothing to do with it. We both love you very much and always will. We just can't love each other anymore. Julia burst into tears. Emma held on, but her lips trembled. I sat with them, holding them, stroking their hair, feeling my heart shatter into pieces. At that moment, I hated Olivia with an intensity I'd never felt for anyone. She didn't just do this to me. She did this to them. The next months were hell. Divorce proceedings in Texas aren't quick, but with irrefutable proof of infidelity, my position was strong. I hired the best lawyer in town, a woman named Gina Martinez, a family law specialist who was rumored to eat husbands for breakfast. At our first meeting, I laid out everything: photos, video, location history, screenshots of her planner and our texts. Everything except the hairpin. I kept the hairpin for myself. As a reminder. Gina listened, nodded, took notes. "Mr. Thompson," she said finally, "you have an ironclad case. With this evidence, we can demand not just standard asset division but also compensation for emotional distress, and most importantly, full custody with minimal visitation for the mother." "Do it," I replied. Olivia tried to fight. She hired a lawyer who tried to paint me as a tyrant who kept her trapped in marriage and wouldn't let her breathe. But it didn't work. Because everyone who knew us saw how I treated her. Our friends, the few who remained, testified in my favor. With Ryan and Kate, things were even worse. Kate filed for divorce the very next day. Ryan begged for forgiveness, wrote letters, came to the house. She wouldn't open the door. Her lawyer moved fast. Ryan moved out. The kids stayed with Kate, child support and weekend visits. Our mutual friends split into two camps. Most, upon learning the details, sided with Kate and me. But some said, "Well, that's personal, why get involved?" and kept hanging out with Olivia and Ryan. I cut them all out of my life. Every single one. The kids were hard. Emma withdrew into herself, stopped talking to her friends. Julia, conversely, became whiny, cried at night, asked for her mom. I took them to therapy. Slowly, gradually, the ice melted. Olivia saw them on Saturdays. At first she took them for the whole day. Then, by court order, I insisted on restrictions, only for a few hours with a therapist present. She cried, begged for more time, but the judge was on my side. She wrote me letters, dozens of letters, first angry, accusatory ones, then pleading, full of remorse, then desperate, with suicide threats. I didn't answer any of them. My love for her died the moment I saw her coming out of that hotel. Only anger remained, and then even that faded. Just emptiness. September 2026. The divorce was finalized in August. I got full custody. Olivia was allowed to see them every other Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., no overnight stays. I kept the house, she got the car. Her child support was negligible because she earned less than me, but I didn't care. I just wanted it over. Ryan moved to another city. Word was he tried to start over, but his reputation preceded him. In the Austin tech scene, everyone knew everyone, and the story spread fast. He lost his job, eventually found some small firm in Houston. He saw his sons once a month, and every visit was a fight with Kate. Olivia left her firm too. I don't know if she quit or was asked to. She moved in with her mother in the suburbs and worked remotely for some small company. I stayed in the house. I couldn't sell it. The kids were used to it, their rooms, their school nearby. I just locked the bedroom and slept in my office. Slowly, we adjusted. Emma started smiling again. Julia stopped crying at night. On Saturdays, they'd go to their mom's, come back sad but calm. Life was getting back to normal. But the hairpin was still in my drawer. I don't know why I kept it. Maybe as a reminder that there's no perfect world. That you can only trust yourself. That even the smallest, most insignificant thing can destroy everything you've built for years. Sometimes I'd take it out, hold it to the light, look at that tiny diamond. And think about the woman it belonged to. Not Olivia, the other one, the one who wore it in her hair, who lost it in someone else's bedroom, who destroyed 2 families. I wonder if she knows? Does she ever think about that night when she dropped this hairpin? Or was it just another evening, another guy, another rush of adrenaline? Probably not. People like that don't care. Today, February 16, 2026. I'm writing this post because this morning, I threw the hairpin away. I just got up, opened the desk drawer, took it out, went to the kitchen, and dropped it in the trash. Then I called a woman I met a month ago at Emma's school parent-teacher conference. Her name is Sarah. She's divorced, has a son. We've been to the movies, had coffee, talked. I feel at ease with her. She doesn't know this whole story. I'll tell her someday. I invited her to dinner on Saturday. When the kids are with Olivia. Life goes on. The house still smells like jasmine in the mornings. The neighbors still say hello. The kids laugh. I work. And only sometimes when I walk past the bedroom that's still locked, I remember. But without pain now, with a slight sadness, everything comes to an end. Even a perfect marriage, especially a perfect marriage.